That's right, northbound side of the 405, Marla, coming up out of Westminster towards Los Alamitos and Long Beach. We'll be crossing the Orange and LA County line. You see the tinted windows. This silver-colored Audi, no plates, possibly stolen. This started as a failure to yield in the city of Santa Ana, and Santa Ana police were in pursuit. Then the CHP picked it up, and this pursuit has zigzagged its way across Orange County, taking the 405 freeway north, back south, back north again. We heard on scanner traffic prior to actually arriving on scene that this pursuit made its way as far north on the 405 as Beach Boulevard. They turned back south down towards Costa Mesa, got back up on the freeway on the northbound side, and he's got a wide open freeway here. Again, a silver Audi, possibly stolen, tinted windows. We did hear that at least one suspect inside the vehicle was able to exit and bailed on foot. Unclear if that individual was taken into custody, and we're hearing that there's at least another individual in this car along with the driver. Once again, this pursuit starting in the city of Santa Ana by the Santa Ana Police Department. They wanted to pull this individual over for some reason. They took off, and the pursuit was on. No plates on this silver Audi. They believe it's possibly stolen. Still traveling northbound on the 405 freeway at this time, coming up to the interchange of the 605 in Los Alamitos. We'll see if he makes that transition to the north 605, or he can continue on a very light 405. The morning rush long gone, and the volume is light on this stretch of the 405. Does look like he's going to make the transition here now on northbound 605, so this will take him up through Los Alamitos into Hawaiian Gardens towards Cerritos and the 91 freeway. Unclear how much gas this vehicle has. That's always a contributing factor. CHP, you see the one lead unit immediately behind, and there is a CHP helicopter tracking this from above as well. So again, Bob, Marla, this started in Santa Ana. Santa Ana Police Department initiated the pursuit. We'll get a look into the windshield there at the driver. We did hear just a short time ago they may have been throwing something outside the window of this vehicle. Possibly cash? It's a possibility. That's what we heard.
And we heard that someone possibly bailed as well. Remind us again, it looks like he transitioned there from the 405 northbound there, started with the Santa Ana Police apparently, and at some point they tried to stop this failure to yield, and now went on from surface streets onto the freeways. So where are they, which freeway are they on right now?
605, just made that transition from the northbound 405 to the north 605 in Los Alamitos, now heading up towards the community of Hawaiian Gardens and then towards Cerritos. The next interchange, freeway interchange, would be the 91. Look at how light the volume is, too. And speed-wise, he's keeping it at about 75, maybe 80 miles an hour, over the speed limit, but not excessive. And again, this is a good time to remind everybody, if you see one of these types of situations on the roadway, do not try to be a hero. Give the law enforcement plenty of room. Veer off to the right or left safely and let them pass. You just don't know who you're dealing with in terms of the suspect or suspects. And in this vehicle, we're hearing there is likely at least two individuals, the driver, the passenger, maybe one other individual. One individual in the automobile did bail, was able to get out at some point during the pursuit. It's unclear if that individual is in custody at this time. Again, failure to yield, essentially what that means is that the police in the community of Santa Ana tried to pull this vehicle over. They lit him up. He did not pull over. He did not yield. He took off, and the pursuit was on. This silver Audi does have paper plates, and again, we're hearing it's a possibility that this car is stolen. And it's also a possibility that one person at least may have thrown something outside the window, and that may have been some cash onto the freeway, the 405 freeway, coming up through the community of Huntington Beach.
Of course, this gets tricky for law enforcement a number of reasons. It's nice to see the light traffic right now, but we don't know if these people are armed.
You're absolutely right. You always have to expect the worst, and that is a strong possibility with anybody who's running from the police, that they got something to hide, and one of those things could very well be a weapon. In a situation like this, you can't perform the pit maneuver, the pursuit intervention technique we've seen so often from up here in Skyfox covering these high-speed pursuits, because there's other individuals on the freeway. They want to bring this to a safe conclusion. So many innocent people are injured or even killed as a result of these high-speed pursuits. In fact, California leads the way in those types of incidents, and we are leading the way here on this pursuit. Northbound side of the 605, this silver four-door Audi, tinted windows, paper plates, being pursued by the California Highway Patrol up the 605, now through Hawaiian Gardens, approaching Cerritos, and again, the next interchange, Bob and Marla, will be the 91. So he will have the option to transition to either the east or westbound 91 or stay the course on the northbound side of the 605.
And Rick, we have to assume that the suspect who bailed earlier in this pursuit, is also being pursued at a whole nother location.
No question. That foot bail was seen by officers, and they will call some backup. Or if there was another unit trailing in that pursuit that was able to pull off and look for that individual. We're trying to get an update on that if that person was taken into custody. We heard 3, possibly 4 suspects inside the vehicle for a time, and again, hearing confirmation that one person did jump out, and we're hearing at least one other person inside this vehicle along with the driver. Traveling now, northbound 605, still coming up through the Cerritos area, the Cerritos Auto Square here, just about a half a mile or so away, and he's staying in the far left lane, keeping his speed at about 75, maybe 80 miles an hour. Not too excessive, but definitely passing traffic there, and you can see that lead unit trailing him very closely, a couple units behind him, and we did see a CHP helicopter tracking this from above as well. Why are they running? Why do they run? Because they think they can get away, and there are some that do. In fact, in the city of Los Angeles, about 18% of those being pursued actually are able to evade police. A lot of those are on motorcycles because they have that ability to kind of duck under certain areas in which vehicles like this CHP Cruiser is unable to get to. North 605, here we go. Coming up on the 91 freeway. We'll see what he does here, Bob and Marla.
All right, looks like he's going at a pretty good clip here. This is probably at a reasonable speed in relation to some of the pursuits that we've seen here. As you said, 70, 80 miles per hour. And coming along this interchange, you'll see what happens here as they go on the 605 north and will shortly cross the Orange County, LA County line. The CHP now taking over for this pursuit. Initially, Santa Ana Police in Orange County had control of this, and now looks like he's speeding up just a bit here.
And he is going to stay on the 605 freeway northbound here, because here comes the interchange. He would have had to veer off to the right. He's in the carpool lane. He would have had to veer to the right to get to those transition roads, and you're going to see the 91 crossing right over the 605. There it is, and there he goes right under it, and he's zipping along at a good pace, 75, 80 miles an hour, maybe a little higher now up the carpool lane, where the volume is starting to pick up just a little bit, but it's still just moderate. I don't see any big backups along the way, but what he will run into, the driver or she, we're unclear on the gender of the driver at this time, is some rain. We passed through a rain shower on our way to the south to intercept this pursuit, and now we're heading back to that area up towards Downey, Santa Fe Springs, Whittier, Pico Rivera. Those areas are experiencing some light rain right now, so then you're going to have to deal with some wet roadways, which really makes things more treacherous. But there you go, a great shot of this silver Audi, possibly stolen, 4-door sedan, possibly up to 4 suspects inside this vehicle at a time. One of them jumped out, unclear if that individual is in custody, and this all started as a failure to yield in the city of Santa Ana. The Santa Ana Police Department lit this car up, he took off, eventually getting onto the 55, the 5 freeway, then to the 405. It made its way through South Orange County, southbound on the 5 freeway and 405 freeways, back to the north on the North 405, all the way up into the Huntington Beach area. He exited the 405 freeway there, went back south down towards Costa Mesa, the South Coast Plaza, got back on the 405 freeway north. That's where we intercepted this pursuit through the Westminster area. He then he made the transition to the northbound 605, still on that 605, having passed the 91 freeway through Cerritos. Now he's coming up on the 105 freeway, but he is staying off to the left for the most part right now, so unless he starts to veer over to the right, nope, he's not going to be able to make that transition either, so he's going to stay northbound on the 605, and just past the 105, you're going to see it right here at this point, this interchange. Traffic slows considerably. I'm starting to see a bit of a bottleneck up here. I don't know if that's just because of heavy volume or there may be an incident in lanes and some light rain as well. The exception being the carpool lane. The carpool lane still looks relatively light, so we'll see if he stays in that carpool lane. Veering off to the right now, so let's see if he's trying to make an exit here on the 605 freeway. The 105 is gone, so he doesn't have that option anymore, but now he's more on the right side of the freeway, the right 2 lanes, and you're going to start to see traffic slow here, as it always does as you make that merge with the 105 freeway. All that traffic from the eastbound side of the 105 transitioning to the north 605 dumps off on this freeway, and that's why you get the slowing. And there you go, speeds down, except in that carpool lane. It is definitely lighter volume, which
this is always a busy spot, Rick. I know when we cover traffic here, as you go along the north of the 105, you transition to the 5 freeway, and all of the different
Always
warehouses
heavy.
and everything in this highly industrial area.
And
You have
now
Moog.
he's weaving.
Yeah, now he's getting in. Now he's getting a little antsy because he's got that congestion off to the right shoulder area into the gore point. High rate of speeds, and look at the roadway. As I said, yes, he is encountering the showers there, and it is wet down below. This is really dangerous because a lot of these people in the traffic just are unclear that, or they just don't know that this is coming up from behind them. And again, if you do see something like this, reminding you all again, please just slow down, pull off to the right or left slowly, safely, and give officers plenty of space, and the suspect as well, who could be armed and dangerous. All right, looks like he's going to make a transition now. He's making a transition now, Marla Bob, on the northbound, looks like to the northbound side of the 5 freeway. No, he's going to take an off-ramp here. He's taking an off-ramp, and this is backed up. He's going to be jammed in traffic right here. He's going to be stopped, and he's going to be forced to either try to edge his way on the side, and that's what he's trying to do right up against the guardrail. Hops over the island. Let's see what he does here. That's the on-ramp to the northbound side of the 5. Again, exiting the 605 through Downey and Santa Fe Springs right at the interchange with the 5. And we'll try to get a street here for you, but we are now on surface streets, and let's see what he does. This is just off the 605 freeway, near the 5, the very busy interchange, and he's going to elect to stay on surface streets right now. CHP helicopter circling overhead, units trailing behind, still very closely. Now, this is a situation, if this is on a surface street and there is a wide open roadway ahead of him, the CHP may try to perform that pit maneuver, that pursuit intervention technique, hitting the back end of that car, spinning it out, disabling that vehicle, and hopefully bringing this to a safe end. From our vantage point, we have not...
Studebaker in Florence. So this is happening on Florence, which is obviously a very long street there through the Santa Fe Springs area.
Eastbound from Studebaker right now. That's what we're hearing. Studebaker just coming off the intersection with Florence, and we'll see what the next intersection is up ahead. It will be controlled, as all these are, by street lights, so it's going to get very dangerous, and he is going at an excessive rate of speed now for these surface streets. Typically the speed limit down below 35, 45 miles an hour, and unclear if he knows this area or not. I think he was panicking. I think he saw that congestion, that bottleneck. He was veering off to the right and saw that he was going to be stuck in traffic, so he elected to exit that very busy northbound 605. At times we do see suspects exit and stay in areas that they're very familiar with. They know the neighborhood, they know the streets, perhaps they know somewhere that they can ditch and evade police. Not sure if that's the case here. I really think that this driver and the passenger and passengers, again, there could be multiple individuals in this car. That's what we're hearing. They just got off the freeway because of all of that traffic. Heading eastbound now through Santa Fe Springs at a good rate of speed still. He hasn't encountered much traffic at any of the street lights. And again, we'll try to get a good location for you here coming up in just a moment.
And Rick, we're seeing obviously 1 versus, I counted 5 CHP units right behind them. In a situation like this, when they make their way onto surface streets, are they in touch with Santa Fe Springs law enforcement to then get ahead of this guy?
No question. Once they enter a different jurisdiction, they will be in touch. This is a mutual aid situation, these pursuits. He did have a green light there, thankfully, so opposing traffic stopped there as we continue to track him eastbound. So all local police departments within the jurisdiction are definitely notified when this occurs. CHP will be in touch with them, and they will essentially help out in any way possible, even with traffic control. If he stays the course on one main highway like he is now, then that would be the case where officers would elect to hold traffic at intersections to prevent any of those horrific accidents that we have seen from up here in Skyfox. Heading eastbound on Florence, we're in Santa Fe Springs. He came off the 605 freeway near Studebaker there, made his way past Norwalk Boulevard, now making his way over towards Cognito Road, which would take him up towards South Whittier. Again, this silver-colored Audi 4-door sedan, possibly stolen, paper plates on it, being pursued by the CHP. This pursuit started in the community of Santa Ana, in the city of Santa Ana. Santa Ana Police Department tried to pull the suspects over. They didn't yield. The pursuit was on. And again, we did hear that there was a possibility that at least one of the individuals inside this vehicle, and there still could be up to 3, at least 2, did throw something out the window on the 405, slowly making his way through the intersection. We'll get that street for you in a moment, making a left or northbound turn from Florence Avenue, and this will take him right up into the community of Whittier. It could be Carmenita at this time. I'm trying to follow this on my
It's like
GPS
Shoemaker.
as well as tracking.
Rick, Shoemaker is the street, northbound now on Shoemaker.
Okay,
but
Shoemaker, yep, one to the west of Cognito.
I think we're still tracking toward the South Whittier and the Whittier area.
Out of Santa Fe Springs, that's exactly right.
And mind you, it turns more residential here.
No, it's a mixed industrial residential area. Okay, now he's turning off to the right here from Shoemaker, having made that turn, or actually just evading traffic there. We'll see what that, yep, he has a green light there, so he's going to continue northbound there through Santa Fe Springs, again, up towards Whittier. Now, Shoemaker will turn into Greenleaf Avenue. It's going to make a bend up here, and that's where the border of Santa Fe Springs and Whittier is. Again, he hasn't had much problem with traffic. Volume relatively light through this mixed industrial and residential area through Santa Fe Springs, and same situation for the community of South Whittier and Whittier. Northbound on, go ahead, Mara.
I was just going to point out that from Santa Ana, where this began, to Santa Fe Springs, it's about, here he goes, trying to get just over.
Pop it over the island here, on to opposing traffic here, now into a parking lot.
Okay.
Again,
He's
this is just
himself, which is good for
this is just off of Shoemaker. We'll try to grab this shot. There's CHP crossing over the island as well. Oh, they're going to box him in. There they go. Now, this is where they still get away. Look at that. Hopping over the island, getting away, evading through there. Now he's coming up on an intersection with a red light. Was able to make his way through there. It looks like traffic was stopped. Wow. Heading northbound back onto Shoemaker. Heading north on Shoemaker towards Whittier at a high rate of speed. They're going to try to bring this to an end right here. Right. And just as he made contact, as he was making contact with those CHP vehicles as well, that's another offense. He's getting lit up, but written up on a number of occasions, not just evading police, which started, and any other wants that he has, but he will be definitely taken down because of all of what he did. Right through the red light there, but it looks like traffic is being held now, and he's still moving at a very high rate of speed on Shoemaker, which will turn into Greenleaf. Once we see the little bend, the wrap in the road here, that's where that border occurs between Santa Fe Springs and Whittier. Let's see if he's getting close to him. He may try to pit him here. You can see the damage on both sides of the vehicle here.
It's remarkable that he got out of that sandwich.
That is. He hopped over the center divider, the island, the medium there, pulled into a parking lot, made a U-turn there. The CHP came across. Now that CHP unit, he's going to get on the other side and see if he can bring this to an end right now. Let's see if he can pit this guy. Here he goes. Here he comes. He's going to try the pursuit intervention technique here. Nope. He pulls back just a little bit. Again, these intersections are so dangerous.
It seems like at times he's going too fast to really do a pit maneuver. This here seems like a pretty fast speed.
If he can do it, if there's a time, he's going to try to do it. He's going to try to bring this to an end because we have not seen the CHP be this aggressive, this close. It initially started on the freeway. See how he's getting right up on the edge? So we'll see what happens here. If he tries to bump that back end and spin him out, disable the vehicle, that's what the pit maneuver is all about. But there's just so much traffic, and he's really picking up speeds northbound here coming into Whittier. And he bumped a couple of CHP units. He was boxed in on the southbound lanes of Shoemaker, making his way north up towards Whittier, and he was able to get out of that and hop the center divider again, the island, and head back northbound. Wow, that was something else.
You have to wonder in that situation where the vehicle was sandwiched in between those two police CHP cruisers, if both units were just attempting to sort of pit it or spin it from each side, and it just so happened they were that close to him, and he got sandwiched in the middle.
Yeah, it's such a fluid situation. These pursuits are. Okay, he made a turn, and it appears now he is on Telegraph Road, which parallels the 5 freeway here up towards Commerce. So now heading northbound on Telegraph against oncoming southbound traffic here. Let's see what the CHP unit does. Coming right up on him. It looks like he pulled back just a little bit there. Now making a left or westbound turn here in very heavy traffic here. And wow, he's got traffic coming up here. He's got another center divider medium. This pursuit, as we've covered so many together, Bob and Marla, started out, I wouldn't say benign because no pursuits are benign, but it's 75 miles an hour up a light freeway, not driving too erratically. But once he ran into that traffic on that northbound side of the 605, coming up near the 5 freeway, that's when he got agitated. He exited the freeway, and that's when it's gotten really dangerous. Coming across the parking lot, likely just trying to get away from that intersection. There it is. Oh, very close to that Orkin vehicle there. Evaded that. That CHP unit's right on him, so close behind. We'll see if he tries to stop this right now. It looks so close, like he wants to try to pit this guy and end it, but you have so many vehicles up ahead, and you just don't want to injure any innocent bystanders. But this is a dangerous pursuit now of at least 2 suspects, at least 1 driver and another passenger. 1 passenger was able to hop out, bail on foot a short time ago, actually a short time after the pursuit started. Now, the roadways are wet, light rain is falling. You can see the damage to both sides of this Audi. You can see the tinted windows, which makes it even more dangerous because officers can't see inside the vehicle that well. And that's why it's illegal to.
Just to think, Rick, how many innocent lives he's putting at risk here. And, you know, maybe it's the weather that we're not seeing a lot of pedestrians out and about today, but certainly on these surface streets, there's too many innocent drivers out there.
You're absolutely right, and they're well aware of that. These officers train for this when they're out fighting crime and chasing bad guys like this. They're planning, they're training, they're talking about it in classrooms. And I'm going to watch this as it goes southbound now on the 5 freeway, getting back on the freeway, southbound side of the 5, heading back towards the 605 out of South Montebello down towards Downey and Santa Fe Springs. So he's reverse course yet. Again, but no, you're absolutely right. The danger to the general public is so great in these situations, and unfortunately, we've seen tragic situations in which these pursuits result in serious injuries or even fatalities to people who are just out and about, minding their own business, and get caught up in all of this. Volume pretty heavy. We're heading back to that very busy interchange of the 5 and the 605, even during the midday. You see a lot of volume, and that's what you're seeing here. He's veering off to the right, southbound side of the 5 freeway here. I still see that CHP helicopter circling overhead as he makes his way back down, possibly towards Orange County again. This is where it started, in Santa Ana, down in Orange County. That's where the pursuit started. Santa Ana Police Department, they initiated it at first. Once it entered on the freeway, CHP took off over it, and that's where we're at now. Southbound side of the 5, approaching the 605.
So he's been successful in evading law enforcement for, I'm going to say, about 45 minutes thus far. This pursuit started about 10:15.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. We were tracking it on our scanners, and it took off from Van Nuys Airport, the other side of our viewing area, up in the San Fernando Valley, and picked it up as we made our way southbound out of Van Nuys towards Orange County. We're going to try to pick up the vehicle again. There it is. All right, there's that sedan. Badly damaged, you can see now, because of the interaction with those CHP units. Also, he skid up against a guardrail, may have made contact with a couple of other vehicles. Fortunately, though, so far, we haven't seen anybody be seriously injured as a result of this pursuit. But it's really flying now. Down the 5 freeway. He's not going to make the transition to 605. There's the 605, the overpass with the 5 freeway. So he's heading back down towards Orange County, right back where this started, possibly towards Santa Ana, possibly towards an area that he's familiar with. Again, this begs the question how much gas, he has in that vehicle, or was in that vehicle. If it is stolen, there's a report that it's possibly stolen. That's definitely something to factor in. You can see he's hitting the brakes a little bit. There is some volume coming up on the southbound side of the 5 as well. And this is that narrow stretch of the 5 freeway. And I mentioned the overnight closure almost daily. Every morning we start our traffic report with the 5 freeway being shut down around Carmenita, north of the 91 up towards the 605, because this is that big widening project. And as they widen it, you can see narrow lanes here on the 5, like this stretch right here. Southbound side of the 5, coming away from the 605, now heading down towards Buena Park, down towards Fullerton. Oh, into the construction zone here.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Let's see. Nope, there's an opening there. That is something else. Making a U-turn back into the northbound side of the 5 freeway, and he's going to have heavier volume now. He thought he was going to be able to evade the officers there. Wow, he knew that there was that little opening, perhaps.
Well,
again,
he's taking
dangerous
the
area with
officers
construction.
For quite a ride here, all the way down from Orange County up the 605, and then down to surface streets, hopping over medians, and then getting back on the 5 freeway, and then going through a construction zone, back onto the northbound 5 freeway. And wow, what a real dangerous situation you have here for officers. You can see damage there on the vehicle now.
Yeah, as I had mentioned, that this car has made contact, of course, with those 2 CHP units, with a guardrail, that badly damaged bumper there as well. And this is such a dangerous area. Again, it's a narrow portion of the Interstate 5 here, south of the 605, that they're widening, that big construction zone. He's veering off to the right. He's going to make the transition back onto the 605. He can go either north or southbound from this transition. And I really feel, just watching his erratic behavior, he doesn't really have a destination except trying to evade the police. And he's going back southbound on the 605 freeway, making that transition. What a move that was, though. Heading full speed down the 5 freeway, got into that construction area between the north and southbound sides, and then made a U-turn onto the northbound 5. This would be a great place to pit him. That's a single lane transition. It looks like he was thinking of doing that lead CHP officer in that SUV. Now he's heading back south on to the 605 freeway here, onto the right shoulder area. Big rig traffic, heavy for sure. And you can see there that bumper on the back right rear, right up against the right shoulder wall. There's so much traffic here with these big rigs. This really gets narrow, a stretch of the 605. So let's see what happens here. Again, that lead officer right behind him. A little cat and mouse action constantly between the driver, the suspect trying to evade arrest. Wow, what a move over towards the carpool lane. So dangerous. I'm surprised we haven't seen more in the way of accidents because of this.
Thank goodness we haven't. Let's do a recap for our viewers who might be joining us as we approach, now, 10 minutes past 11 o'clock. And we're following this police pursuit of a possible stolen vehicle. This is a gray Audi with paper plates. This started nearly an hour ago in Santa Ana after a failed to yield. Santa Ana police picked up this pursuit. It has made its way from Orange County to LA County, in and off of surface streets on the 405, on the 5. Now, this is, forgive me, Rick, this is the northbound 605?
Southbound 605 now, approaching the 105. You can see the passenger window, so there's definitely at least one other individual in there. Staying in the far left lane, the fast lane. Window is down, and it looked like that person may have been tossing something else out the window. Now into the carpool lane here. South 605 freeway, approaching the 105 in the carpool lane, and it looks like he's going to stay the course on the southbound 605 and not make the transition to the west 105. That would be his only option here, and that the 605 essentially starts and ends. The 105 starts and ends here at the 605. Carpool lane, you can see the friction of that bumper there. Definitely going to slow him down a little bit, as you see on NASCAR tracks. So when you have damaged vehicles like that, they try to patch those up right away, but he's been whizzing along at a really good pace at times, 80-plus miles an hour. Southbound on the 605, being pursued by the CHP.
And Rick, the other element of the story is the fact that it's not just one suspect that's being pursued. We're saying at least 2 people inside this vehicle, and at one point, a suspect bailed, went on surface streets.
That's right. 4 individuals, possibly up to 4 individuals inside this vehicle at one time. One person was able to hop out of the vehicle early on. Unclear if that person was taken into custody. We just saw that there's definitely somebody in the passenger seat, the driver, of course, and maybe one other individual in the back seat. This 4-door, this Audi, this silver Audi, badly damaged, paper plates, possibly stolen here, being pursued all over Orange County and the southeastern portion of LA County. And that's where we are now, southbound side of the 605. We took this stretch northbound a time ago during this pursuit, but now he's heading back towards the 91, Cerritos, Los Alamitos, down towards the Seal Beach area in the 405 if he stays the course on the southbound side of the 605. Approaching the 91, he has the option to transition to either direction of the 91. Right now, it looks like he, again, is staying the course, although now he's starting to veer off to the right lane. Let's see if he has an idea of making a move here. And he's been able to make a lot of moves evading these officers. And you have to think that these officers, their adrenaline is high. They have been, this suspect has really given them a run for their money, and they want to bring this to an end, a safe end, and they want to bring this guy and these suspects inside that vehicle, bring him into custody for all that they've been doing throughout Southern California this morning. Veering off to the right, last-minute move here, making the transition road to the 91 freeway. Will he go east or west? He's going to go west. He's going to make a transition here in Cerritos from the southbound 605 to the westbound 91. This will take him through North Long Beach, over towards the 710, and Compton. The volume looking out to the west, pretty heavy, both sides of the 91.
That would lead you to believe, Rick, another dangerous transition here. Just with all the transitions that this driver has made up the 605, through surface streets, the U-turn that we saw on the 5 freeway, up and down the 5 freeway, now back down the 605 to the 91. This driver, very erratic, very aggressive, and it doesn't seem like there is a real destination here. it is almost like this car, this driver is just trying to get away. By the way, if you're just watching this right now and you see the damage there on the vehicle, there was a moment about a half hour ago when the driver was on a surface streets and they thought they might have had the driver pinned. On both directions, it was rammed and sandwiched between two vehicles, between two police cruisers, and that's why we're looking at damage here. But Rick, doesn't look like there's any destination here, and he's getting off the freeway again.
No, that's the point I made. It appeared that he was just staying the course on the freeways. Once he ran into that traffic on the northbound 605, he got nervous. He exited the freeway, and that's when he really started to drive erratically.
Too, because
he's exiting. Yeah, he's up on the sidewalk there. There he goes, skimming those vehicles there, making a left or southbound turn here, which will take him down into Long Beach, off the 91 freeway, right through traffic there. Yeah, wow. So he's right on the border of Cerritos now, and there he is. He's boxed in there a bit. He's going to make a turn against ongoing traffic. Now look at this CHP unit. He's staying the course with him. Now driving against traffic westbound. Actually, he's staying westbound in westbound lanes there. It looked like he was going to make a turn onto eastbound lanes. There was a driver who did exactly what you're supposed to do in a situation like this. Pull off to the side safely. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to box a suspect in if you see something like this, because you do not know who you're dealing with. It could be a very dangerous armed situation. Once the speed, and I just got this from one of my LAPD sources, Adrian Acosta, who's working over in the Venice Bureau. He says typically LAPD speeds of 35 miles an hour or less. That's when they'll attempt that pit maneuver. Obviously, if the roadway is clear. CHP may have a slightly different policy. Right up against him here as he makes another turn here, a northbound turn here. We're right on the border of Long Beach, Downey, and Cerritos here. The badly damaged car here against traffic again, through a red light intersection, trying to get back onto the 91 freeway. Here he goes. He's going to try the pit, and yeah, that was successful. Bam! But let's see if he's going to continue on, because the car wasn't that badly damaged. Now, this is where it really gets dangerous. Again, you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know if these suspects are armed at this time or not. The vehicle looks somewhat disabled. We're going to try to get a better position here for you. There are other units. That's why they can't. That's why he's not moving there as we widen out. That's an on-ramp here where he was pitted. Now we'll see what happens. We haven't seen anybody exit the vehicle as of yet. We're going to get a better vantage point here. That wall was blocking us there for just the time being. We're not seeing much movement yet, so we'll see what happens here. This could turn into a standoff. The officers are already ordering the suspects to exit the vehicle. Arms visible. Clear orders. There's a canine unit there. They're prepared. They are definitely going to bring these individuals into custody. Fortunately, at least from our vantage point, we did not see any other vehicles badly damaged. It did not appear that there was any type of interaction with some other cars that could have caused serious injuries. Guns drawn. CHP units have this guy blocked. We'll get you the on-ramp here. This is the 91 freeway, the eastbound side of the 91 where he had just exited. Looks like it could be Bellflower Boulevard, Studebaker. I'll try to get that for you here in just a moment. He was transitioning. That car, as a successful pit maneuver here, brings the chase, at least temporarily right now, as we can see, to a stop, and the car continued to roll just a bit, and now just seems to be over the edge here. Again, we know at least one person inside this vehicle. Of course, there could be as many as two, even more. One person had bailed out right now, and also we're looking at tinted windows here, so we do not know if the people inside this vehicle are armed at all. So, and it looks like this is Clark. It looks like this is Clark Avenue, the Clark Avenue on-ramp to the eastbound side of the 91 in the community of Bellflower here, where this pursuit has come to an end. Look at all the units arrive on scene here. Again, he has nowhere to go.
Clearly, Rick, if he were obeying officers' orders, he or whomever's inside would have already been getting out of the vehicle, no?
That's exactly right. By now, we would have seen some movement. First by the driver. They'll always go after the driver first. Then they'll go after any of the other passengers. Again, you're dealing with an automobile with tinted windows. The front passenger side window was unrolled for a time. These officers may have a little more intel on this than we do. Unfortunately, because of the fact that the plates are paper, there's no way we can determine who the registered owner is of this vehicle. But a very successful pit maneuver, just as I was saying. Once the speed is down, the roadway is clear, and they took that opportunity to spin this this individual out through that pursuit intervention technique. The Clark Avenue on-ramp to the eastbound side of the 91. Now this appears to possibly be a standoff with most likely 2 suspects, maybe even 3. One individual we heard did hop out of the car, foot-bailed, right after this pursuit started down in Orange County in Santa Ana, and it's Bellflower where we are at now. The 91 freeway is not impacted. As you can see, east and westbound lanes are open. At this time, it's just the Clark Avenue on-ramp. The CHP helicopter circling very low. They're trying to look inside that vehicle as well, provide some information. And again, this is a situation, too, if a drone could be deployed quickly, as we've seen. We saw the Redondo Beach Police Department do this in this exact situation when a pursuit came to an end. You could fly that drone right up into the grill of that vehicle, look inside that vehicle, and see what they're dealing with. Who's in there? Does it look like they have a weapon? That's where drones are good. And I know there's been a big pushback in the city of Los Angeles by some residents, but those drones could be helpful in solving crime and bringing situations like this to a peaceful end. It's unclear if that would be the case here, if they were able to do that. But again, that would be a situation in which a drone is on a vehicle or close by, and they can deploy it quickly so that they can get a better look inside the vehicle. Of course, with the tinted windows, it would be a little bit more difficult.
Because now we're at a standstill here, and even since this pit maneuver was executed just a few minutes ago, and the car then rolled to a stop here, but it looks like we're at a standstill here because we haven't seen any sort of movement inside the vehicle. No doubt at this point you have the CHP boxing him in on both sides, the driver on both. Oh, you see a little bit of movement there inside, but boxed in on both sides, no doubt, with the canines out and the officers with their horns. They're
not going anywhere. These suspects aren't going anywhere, and we're going to get a better vantage point here, looking inside the driver's window, which is rolled down. Arms were flailing there, we could see for a time. Clearly he's not giving up. Clearly he's not doing what he's told. The officers have given very strict and detailed instructions, as they always do at the termination of a pursuit, to bring this to a peaceful conclusion. But you can see he's gesturing at these officers. It looks like he's agitated, hands not shown. He could be armed.
The window's
open
here now.
Really, exactly what I said, Bob. When I rolled around here, I said his window was open. We could see his arms flailing, and he was looking out at the officers, gesturing towards them, which it just makes the situation even worse. And I've seen pursuits end like this, where the suspect isn't complying. They're reaching for things. They're moving their arms, and at times it ends in an officer-involved shooting. Because the officers might feel that they're at risk. Their lives are at risk.
The suspect could be under the influence. The driver could be under the influence of something as well. And as
no
you said,
question.
Armed,
there's so many scenarios, and I've covered situations like this so many times involving police-related situations, and I've seen, at least from my vantage point, that if a suspect or suspects do exactly what they're told, situations like this end peacefully. Yeah, of course, the suspect, he's going off to jail. They're going off to jail, the suspects, but it ends peacefully. It looks like the window's rolled back up now. The suspect has rolled up the window. He's not giving up, and again, at least one other individual in the car. We heard at one time there may have been up to 4. It's been really difficult because of the tinted windows to determine if that's the case. It appeared that there was at least one individual in the front passenger seat. All right, door is open now. Let's see what happens. It looks like his hand is up. Let's see if he's ready to give himself up. And again, it's the passenger they want to take, or the driver, I should say, they want to take into custody first. He's gesturing something, his keys. Just drop him on the ground, hands up, hands in clear view. He's pushing. Yeah, he's not doing what he's told. He's got to have his hands up. He looks like he's gesturing. Hands up, hands up. That's what they're saying. Hands up. Do not put your hands in your pocket. Don't reach for anything. Keep your hands in visible sight, please. Hands up, high above your head. Hands high above your head. That's what they're saying. That's what they're directing this suspect to do. And this is why it's so. He's reaching for something again. And again, these are really fluid situations for officers. And this is why officers get into a situation where they just don't know what they're dealing with. The suspect, Bob, you mentioned, could be under the influence. Maybe he does have a weapon, and now he's still not doing what he's told, unless he's so out of it that he
seems really agitated.
It looks like he's gesturing
and very fidgety here.
And now in a situation like this too, officers can use non-lethal force. They could bring out the beanbags, just to, you know, tase him, do something if that's needed. But now it looks like, okay, hands back, hands up, hands back. His feet are crossed. He's laying out on the asphalt here. Again, if you're just tuning in, this started as a pursuit in Santa Ana after 10 o'clock this morning. It's ending here in Bellflower on the Clark Avenue on-ramp to the eastbound 91. Both sides of the 91 are open. It's only the Clark on-ramp that this activity is occurring. But we believe there's at least one other individual, in addition to the driver, that is now laid out on the ramp. So we will see the lead officer approach now. Guns drawn.
Well, that is a real danger if there's another person inside the vehicle. Secondly, often don't they attempt to try to get the person to walk some sort of a distance away from the vehicle and then get down? It looked like this person was acting very strangely as he was coming out.
Absolutely. Again, he could be under the influence. He could not all be there. But look at this. K9, they got the barrier up. CHP officers, guns drawn. And the first thing they're going to do, they want to make sure nobody else is inside that vehicle that could harm the officers. But they may have a good eye on anybody else inside that vehicle. So let's see what happens now. And they turn out nobody else is in there. So that's driver taken into custody. Let's watch this to an end to see if this is going to be a code 4 or not, because it looks like they're gesturing inside the vehicle. Let's push back in and see what's going on with the vehicle there. As you can see, the driver, the suspect's being taken away. They're going to check the trunk. Okay, the trunk is clear. I don't think anybody else is inside that vehicle. From what we're looking at now, Marlon Bob, they checked the trunk. It's clear. Code 4, only the driver. And we thought that there was upwards of 4 individuals for a time, and we heard that one person jumped out, just the driver, leading the CHP and Santa Ana Police Department on a high-speed pursuit across Orange County into southeastern LA County, ending here at the Clark Avenue on-ramp to the eastbound 91 freeway. Look at all the units and look at the people watching down below. Wow.
All right. Well, this is the end of that stolen car pursuit, the eastbound 91 at the Clark on-ramp, Clark Avenue on-ramp in Bellflower. So that was good on CHP for that successful pit maneuver there that ended this about 10 minutes ago. We will, of course, have a complete wrap-up at noon, just about 35 minutes away.
Suspect in custody. Good job, the police officer. It doesn't appear that anyone at this point we can tell was hurt in this very wild pursuit. Again, we'll have a full wrap-up at noon, just over 30 minutes away, and we'll return you back to your regular program.
That's crazy, only one person in there. Looked like there was somebody in the passenger seat. Go back to the vehicle. Well, he was just... I think he was on something. Do you see his hand? Yeah. That looks like a bullet hole right there. Yeah. No, I didn't want to speculate, but I mean, CHP may have shot at him. Once they used their vehicle as a weapon. I haven't heard from the desk. And east, 91 east at Clark Avenue, 91 east at Clark Avenue in Bellflower. Hey, what do you want us to do, Dave? We have like 45, 50 minutes. We have a good, maybe even an hour, 20. Well, we have an hour. Downtown. All right.